Time for our daily quick cap here, and we're going to be looking at ticker symbol EQT today. This worked out really well for us. Um, Beautiful set, just everything worked out really well on this. I'm going to try to make this video shorter, not take up as much time. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the signal was right there. Happened the end of yesterday. Is when it showed up. We looked at it, and I decided that you know what, I really like this one. I liked how it was getting. Well, first thing, let me stop before I get ahead of myself. As we look left for support resistance, there's obviously no type of trend line. Now we can draw a trend line, but that would be in preparation for an eventual move if we were to draw something like that. We'd be waiting for a move back up into it, but obviously at this time there's no trend line to be drawn. So the only thing was right here. That was the only level, and we'll put that mark right in there, and you can see that we barely broke it that day. And I'll zoom in just a second, don't worry. Actually, we can go ahead and zoom in now. We'll do that. Let's see. So we barely broke through that level here, and then on the day of our signal, it came up to it again and just got pushed back down. So I did feel really good about it on the support and resistance side. Also, what I really liked about it is how vertical this move was. When we look at that, I talk about this in my income genesis course in understanding not only why a chart is moving in a certain direction, which we can tell through support and resistance, but we also need to, it's very important to be able to pay attention to how a chart is moving. And right here, this is a sprint right here. This is not like, a nice steady pace for a marathon runner. This right here is a sprint up. And whenever you sprint, you're going to have to take a break. It's just part of it. And we can confirm that with the RSI up here. We are so far overextended. It's nearly at 100 on the RSI 2 different times right here. So it's come up. It's so far overextended into an area of resistance. I felt pretty good about taking this on the short side. If it were to get triggered, which it did, and our trigger on this one was we needed to see a break of 44.31, which means right here I needed to see 44.3 print. And it did. It happened. It took a little while. It wasn't fast. It was, I think it was within the first hour, and we'll see once we get into the 1 minute. But it wasn't like in the first 5 minutes or anything. And I know this looks weird. Just so we're clear, we'll see it in the 1 minute. That big push up happened well before we triggered. So that push up was never in any kind of, it was never a concern for us because we weren't in the trade until later on in the day. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. So that pretty much sums up the reasons why we took the trade. I was very confident in the support or in the resistance part of this with that level right in there. I felt really good about it, and I felt really good about the overextension that we had and that we were going to come down. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this was a mountain to river setup. So we had a good mountain to river setup. We had good resistance. We had we had overextension on the RSI. All the technical signs were telling us, this was a good trade to take. And that's something that I go over each and every morning in the War Room. If you want to know more information about that, please visit armortrades.com. So what I usually do in these videos is we go over our trigger, which we just did, and then also go over our or some 3 different ways to potentially exit. And this is just to give you some ideas. These are not the only ways to exit, but just to give you some ideas. And I will go over these fast, or try to anyways. So the first would be exiting into previous support or resistance. Now, For me, it was right here. I'll draw the line. You can see this high right here, and then that wick right there. That was the first level to take profit at. So you either begin scaling out there, or you could exit completely. That is up to you. The point of me going over this strategy is just simply for you to see that if you want to incorporate this into your trading, all you do is look left and find the nearest areas of support or resistance. In this case, it's support. Um, and then how you exit or how much you take out of your position at those levels is completely up to you. So there's that. We also, the next level was right here. I'll draw it in. Right there was the low of this. It just stuck out to me looking at the chart. With it being, the low of here and here, which was the low was 42.19, and the low of today was 42.06. So it did get to that level. Let me erase that line, and maybe you'll see what I mean. You see how there's this void here. So that's the first thing that I pick up, that my eyes pick up as you begin looking left, is that longer wick, and so I like that level as well. But that's the main thing when you're exiting that way, is just make sure that you're finding the nearest areas of support or resistance, and then you decide: do you want to exit your whole position? Do you want to exit half, a quarter, a third, 3/4? Whatever you decide to do, that's something that you'll have to figure out what works best for you. So another way to exit would be to, when price triggers, enter the trade, and then hold that sucker all day, and set your stop. Again, the stop is also gone over in the war rooms, so that we know exactly how much we're going to lose if a trade goes completely 100% against us. So set your stop and then just let it run, and you can move your stop as the day goes on. You can adjust it. You can, change your mind in the process and go ahead and take profit if you get up big. Trading that way you will turn some winners into losers, but you will also catch some pretty big runners. This one had potential to be a big runner. This was still a very nice trade, but it had potential to be an insane trade if it kept going. So you got to figure out what fits your personality best. And the last one we'll go over is scalping. So let's remember that what we were looking for was 44.31 was the trigger, which means we needed to see 44.3 print. And you see, that's what I meant, that upper wick that this candle had on the daily chart. It happened first thing in the morning. We were not in the trade at all until much later. Yeah, we're still not in the trade over here. Remember, we needed to see 44.3 print. And even right there, the low is at 44.35, I think was, yeah. So it actually broke, or it got triggered on this candle here at 10.19. You see the low at 10.18 was 44.32. Then at 10.19, we finally broke through that 44.31 area. We got to see 44.3 print. And when that happened, we could enter. Now, from a scalping standpoint, this is awesome. I mean, absolutely beautiful. 44.3 was where we wanted to enter at. And you can see within just a few minutes, it was down to 43.7. And so what's that? 60 cents in just a few minutes on a $44 stock at the time. Heck yeah, we'll take that every single time. That's a really good trade from a scalping standpoint. And even if you didn't get out there, if you wanted to wait, you were still never in danger. Because if we look at it, let me zoom. Let's see. Okay. So right there, 10.19, 44.3. Look at where my horizontal cursor is. and you'll see that rarely, and it barely broke above that line several times, but it didn't go up by much. I mean, the worst you ever would have been on this trade was 18 cents. Let's just say even 20 cents in the hole. And that would have been already after being up 60 cents. And then past that point, I mean, it was just smooth sailing. Uh, would have worked out completely fine. Really, no matter what your exit strategy was on this one, it would have worked out. The key thing to always remember is that it's so important just to follow the trading plan, follow the strategy, stick to it, and just have faith in it, and have faith that things are going to work out. That's how I trade, and how I try to trade stress free is that I know that I've put in the work, and I'm just going to let God take over, and whatever happens happens. So that about wraps it up for this video. I do appreciate you, and I thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. Again, thank you for watching, and God bless.